welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been so long since we've posted.
But to make up for it, we're trying out a brand new animation style and bringing you some roleplay tips.
Since a big part of role-playing is about your dialogue, that's what we'll be talking about today.
Both Vale and I have been roleplaying for over 3 years, so we've got a few tips and tricks for you.
That's right, so without further ado, let's get to it.
The first and most important tip is to use grammar. It might seem silly, but using grammar makes your sentences easier to read and respond to. You should capitalize the beginning of sentences, the word I, and use quotes whenever you're speaking. That way, you don't have to use asterisks when you're talking about what your character is doing.
One of the biggest indicators as to how long somebody has been role-playing for is their grammar. Experienced role-players won't typically use asterisks for actions because it really doesn't look good. Even newer role-players will use grammar. It helps improve the flow of understanding and communication a lot, which is something that people take pride in.
That's right, and that leads us to our next tip, your format, or in other words, the length and style your text is in.
Roblox automatically limits the amount of characters you can use, but that doesn't mean that this doesn't apply.
When you write too much in one paragraph or one chat bubble, it can get really confusing and hard for the other players, even if you're using grammar. So, when you roleplay, make sure that what you're typing is understandable to others. Make sure to keep it on the shorter end if possible.
Even some experienced roleplayers, typically combat roleplayers, tend to make this mistake. Remember that your partner has to be able to take in the information and respond to it. Just remember that not every single message you send has to be a paragraph, or just a single sentence. Find a balance that's not too short or too long. It'll help both of you.
It is suggested that if you use emojis when you roleplay, you put it on the borders, and make sure they're not too distracting. You want people to pay attention to what you're saying after all. Most experienced roleplayers won't use emojis, though.
Our third tip is the content of your dialogue. Like, the tone you use should be natural. Very rarely do people ever say things like, I do not like that. More often it's, I don't like that. There are a few exceptions when you get into posh, rich, older types of characters, but generally go by the rule of thumb that if you're not going to say it to somebody you know in real life, then don't say it in character.
You should also use punctuation to show emotions and expressions. The same sentence that's supposed to sound happy can become a sad one if you use a period instead of an exclamation point. Describing things like actions that your character does, like eating, making a funny face, raising your eyebrows, will really help bring them to life.
And one of the big ones is probably something that we all struggle with, the word said. If after every single sentence you're saying name said, then it gets really repetitive really quickly. You can use other words like squealed, sighed, exclaimed, or you can even insert an action after the words. Maybe your character is cleaning while talking. You can use that. Although, keep in mind, you don't have to put something after every single piece of dialogue. It can be a standalone.
Our final tip is that if you really want to get better at roleplaying, then practice a lot. Attend official hosts and watch what senior roleplayers are doing. It never hurts to watch, learn, and apply those same tactics yourself.
If you need help, you can always ask a staff member for tips as well. We're here to help you guys out.
We've got to wrap up, but let us know in the comments if there's any other roleplay tips that we should talk about next time.
And make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps us out when you guys do.
See you next time!
Bye!